Maybe that's why I'm so short. I just keep doing stunts, and I'm growing back, but not quite as tall as I could be. Anyway, again, it's such a huge gift to be able to be here together on Father's Day, just to celebrate the goodness of God to us, but also to engage together as a family, just to continue to grow and to experience more of what God has for us. Again, I recognize also today that Father's Day has a complex range of emotions for so many people. As you come into a day like today, maybe you're just celebrating the delight of a father that you've had who's been so good, who's expressed you unconditional love and care and acceptance and a meaningful interaction. Maybe you're also grieving or recognizing the loss of a father in a relationship with your dad that wasn't very good or strong, or there was some damage that was created through that environment. Maybe you come into a space like today as a dad who's just really celebrating the goodness and the delight of fathering. Maybe you come as a parent who's just really struggling, wrestling with a sense of shame because of all your failures and the spaces where you feel inadequate. There's lots of emotions wrapped up in the course of a day like today. And we're just so grateful that we can come together and live and hold all of those things in tension. And even if we feel some of those things at exactly the same time, it's okay, and we get to express those things, to bring those things to God, and to delight in the goodness of the Father that He is to us. Again, today for Father's Day, I'm really excited. We have a group of tremendous men here with me who are going to be a part of a Father's Day panel just to hear from them and to discuss together. But if you're here today and you're not sure how this relates to you, maybe you're not a father or you're just not really sure you care too much about this dynamic, I want to encourage you just to continue to dive in, see if there's something in particular that God wants to say to you through our interaction today. And maybe also it would give you just a unique capacity to identify or empathize with someone differently than you have before, or to gain a broader or a deeper perspective. Again, it's going to be a really good morning. I'm excited about the dynamic we have together. And so what I'm going to get you guys to do first is just give us your name, tell us a little bit about your family, and maybe tell us like one of your funniest parenting moments or most epic parenting fails as we go down the line here.
Thank you.
It's on. So.
Yeah, my name's Elijah, and I have 5 children. Yeah, 5 children, and my oldest one, my oldest daughter, her name is Kiana. She's 10. And then come Kezia, she's 9 years old. I have Kate, 6 years old. And I have Elijah Jr., 4 years old. And the last one is Noah, he's 2 years old. And for me, the funniest thing, in my parenting hood, I guess this comes the very first day I became a dad. Just long story short, I was in the hospital, and after my wife carried my oldest daughter, my newborn, it was my turn now to carry my daughter, and so many things was just going in my mind. Wow, my goodness, I'm gonna carry this little, being person, my first time. And I thought, like, man, if she cries, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna drop her down? So those are the things that just coming in my mind, and that was like a failure for me. Like, why are you thinking this way? But it ended up that I hold her nice and neat, and it was good. And can I share another one?
Yeah.
So another one, it's you guys, I said I have 5 children, and sometimes, usually when I come from work, I have all of them waiting for me on the doorstep, right? Everybody's there ready for daddy, and they want to tell me about their days and everything that happened. I love that. I feel humbled, and I just enjoy that time. But this time, this particular day, I came from work, and I was really tired. I was like, man, what am I going to do? I just want to have my own time before, I meet the whole family. And I got in the house hiding, and I went to my room, and they find out that daddy's home. And where is he? And I found myself like, man, I need to hide. So I went to the closet, hide from my own children, and then I came out of this like, Elijah, like, really, this is shameful. How can you hide from your own children? That was a fail too. So anyway, yeah, sorry, my children.
No one else has ever felt like that. No one's ever wanted to hide from their children. It's good.
Bear with me, because I'm only telling myself there's only 3 people in church right now. My name is Andrew Dick. I have 3 kids. Daughter Harper, 8 years old. Wyatt, my son, is 6, and Ellie is pretty much 4. And as you asked us, some parenting mishaps, I had to filter through a lot of them, because a lot of them involve potty training, and there's lunch to eat after this, so I won't do that to anyone. And toddlers not getting their sentences right, which would make me sound like a horrible father. So I did find a good clean one that I could think of, and just kind of shows how cute they can be. My oldest daughter was about 2 years old and barely learning how to talk, and we were just driving down the road on divided highway, and in the back, all of a sudden I hear, "Dad, drive faster. Dad, drive faster." And I told her, well, Harper, I'm already driving a little bit over speed limit. This is as fast as we can go. It was just quiet in the back. And then all of a sudden, just out of frustration, let me drive. So it just shows how, yeah, it's such cute moments how the kids can be.
I'm Jermaine. I'm married to my wife, Hannah. We have 2 boys that I'm very proud of. Duke, he is 2 years old, and Resh, he is 7 months old. Admittedly, the first thing I did wrong when it came to thinking of embarrassing stories was ask my wife if she could help me come up with any. That's it. Didn't take very long. We had a pretty good list going, I'll tell you that. There was a few. There was one story, I'll try to tell it here as efficiently as I can, but this happened a few months ago. We had bought a brand new Ford Sprinter, nice and white van for work, for a service van. So I brought it home to work on in the evenings. We have a shop at home, I threw it in there. And so yeah, I would tinker on it. I was building shelves, actually, some wooden shelves for the van, and I was staining them with like an oil-based stain or whatever. And so I had wrapped up for the day. I wasn't completely done, so I knew I would have to finish staining the next day, so I just put the roller of the stain and the container, whatever, on the countertop in the shop. And then I thought to myself for a second, I should probably clean this up in case maybe Duke would find his way to the shop again, like he does every day. But I did the more efficient thing. I just pushed it to the back of the counter, thinking, he can't reach it. That'll be way better, out of harm's way, right? Out of sight, out of mind. So anyways, the week went on. I guess it was the next day. It was Saturday. Hannah said she had to go into town to do some running around or whatever. And so I said, yeah, I'll watch the boys, no problem. So me and Duke were at home hanging around and playing. I may or may not have fallen asleep on the couch. Woke up. I don't even know how long I was sleeping for. I woke up. The house is dead quiet, and my heart just dropped. I was like, "Oh no!" And whenever it's quiet, anybody with kids, if you have a 2-year-old and it's quiet for any amount of time, you understand that something's going down, right? You gotta find out what's going on. So I walk around the house. Duke, where you at? Can't find him anywhere. He obviously sees the moment. Dad's sleeping. I'm going outside. So he was outside. I run to the deck, and I'm like, Duke, I'm calling for him. Where are you at? And I see him, lo and behold, out of the shop, big smile on his face, comes walking out of the shop, has the stain roller in one hand and the stain container in the other hand. This is a little bit embarrassing, but he wasn't even wearing clothes. He's got his diaper on and some muck boots. So he was ready for the day as far as I was concerned. My heart obviously dropped. I run to the shop to assess the damages. I walk up to him. As I get closer to him, I don't even see any stain on his hands. He's got, I'm thinking he's probably drinking it, right? He's thinking it's juice or something. But he's got a little drizzle on his chest. His hands are clean. And so I thought, oh, that's a good start. Obviously, I got to go to the shop to see what, potential nice white art canvases he could have found in there. And so I walk in the shop, I look around, and it's virtually untouched. Look at the van, obviously, everything looks fine from the angle I was looking at it, And I look on the floor, there's a little dab of stain on the floor. He had, tried it out. Maybe it wasn't his thing. And so I look at him like, dude, thanks. You saved me here. This is awesome. Anyway, let's go inside, have lunch. Let's celebrate this good news. And so anyways, we went inside, ate lunch. The afternoon freed up a bit. I said, let's go to the shop. I'm going to keep working on the van, finish staining it. And Duke loves to be in there when I'm working. He's hanging around or whatever. And so anyways, we go in there. I get to work. A little bit of time goes by. And again, just complete silence from him. And so I'm just like, oh boy, what's going on? And so I walk around to the other side of the van where I assume that he is, and lo and behold, I look over the van, and the whole bottom half of the van, he completely just covered it in stain. Tires, rims, headlights, door panel, the whole thing was completely covered in stain. Yeah, it was pretty embarrassing. Don't fall asleep on your kids, guys. Wouldn't recommend.
You have insurance? Yeah. My name is Dennis Landis, and my wife Debbie and I, we have 3 adult children and 9 grandchildren, which we are very proud of. So I'm going to focus on the word when you said epic. Okay, so I'll skip the funny and I'll go to the epic. And this story takes us back about probably 15, 18 years ago. Both of our boys were heading off to college that year, and it was kind of the last weekend in August, and they decided to have, I would say, a party at our house. And we live out west of town on the Saskatoon Lake Road on a farm. And we said, sure, bring as many kids as you want. And I think there was about 25 to 30 kids their age go off, whether work or college they were heading. And I think there might be some people in the audience that might have been at that party, or for sure a parent I know would have had a kid that was there. And so it was probably 3 p.m. They were all starting to gather at our place, and all of a sudden they get a call from one of the people coming, and they said their car broke down on the Saskatoon Lake Road, and they were wondering if they could maybe get some help. So instead of one car going out, all 8 cars and all 25 young people decided to go help the vehicle that was broke down on the road. And to be safe, they moved the car off the highway and they moved it down into the ditch, which was quite safe and easy. And so picture 25 people looking a lot like our band here, Chris and Nathaniel and Curtis, you know, with the long hair and the beards and some bandanas and so I don't know exactly what happened, but a neighbor saw what was happening down in the ditch. And I'm sure when she called 911, it was like, what's your emergency? And all I know is the Grand Prairie Police Detachment, the Beaver Lodge Police Detachment, and the K-9 group all decided to come figure out what's happening on the Saskatoon Lake Road. And a lot happened, but then I get a call from my youngest son, he's 18, and he goes, Dad, I think we need your help. And so I drive up, come to the side of the road, there's probably 12 police cars, all the guys are laying face down on the pavement. And anyways, the story ended well after that.
Did you invite the police over for the rest of the party as well? Did you include them in the dynamic, the police? So thanks so much, guys. And so what are one or two things that surprised you most about being a father? What was kind of unexpected in a good way or a challenging way? What kind of really surprised you about this role?
For me, it's just when I was single and before I became parent, so life was about me, right? So me, myself, and I. So I do everything for me. And becoming a father, you kind of lost that. I lost that, and it's more, my children comes first, and that change, that really changed me. And it's not just as I was reflecting on that question. Also, it's not only my own children. Mm-hmm. This is become for every child out there, And I'll be watching the news and see a suffering child from sickness or anything, and before you know it, I'll be praying over that child that I don't even know. It's something that really surprised me, that how I changed and became more caring for children. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, so the most surprising thing, same thing when I was single, I thought I knew what love was. Never did I realize someone could drive me absolutely nuts, but I could love them like crazy at the same time. That was a big thing for me, and just, thinking I knew love until my first daughter, we were out of town working, and she was still learning, just learning how to talk. And she wants to tell me something over the phone. And I was about to go to sleep, and she was just the four words that I never knew that could help me understand love, but just, "I love you, Dad." And the first time I heard that, it's like, wow. I thought I knew love, but this pour my heart into a cup, pretty much. So it's just, yeah, understanding love a little more.
I've been surprised with the amount that the emotional high you can be on, and then the emotional low you can be on, all in the same 24-hour period. I mean, you can be, I'm a pretty emotional guy, so I'm used to kind of the ups and downs. Thank goodness for my wife. She's definitely, not to out myself, she's for sure the rock of the relationship emotionally. So I got my good days, bad days, and then you throw a couple of kids in the mix, and you can be loving life. You can be playing with them. This is the best thing ever. This is so easy. Let's have 8 more of these, right? This is going awesome. And then, a couple hours later, you find yourself in the nursery holding a screaming child, thinking to yourself, what am I doing with my life? So you love them nonetheless, but it's just like, it's that up and down and trying to find a balance. That's been for sure a challenge for me, but we're getting there. I'm getting better at it, I think, but that was surprising, I will admit.
Probably what was surprising to me was when I grew up, we had no babies in the family. We had other friends and family where there were really no babies. So my first experience with babies was when Debbie and I had our 3. And I learned that I absolutely love little babies. And if you're ever in a group and you need to get rid of your baby, give them to me and I'll look after it. But anyways, and then each stage of our kids growing up, whether they be toddlers and then adolescents and teenagers and now adults, I've actually loved every stage of our kids' lives, and now being grandparents is a special stage too. So anyways, that surprised me. I don't think I could identify what was my favorite part of being a dad.
And so what are some of your thoughts on how have you seen God meet you, or how has God changed you in your role as a dad? How has he done a unique work in you through this experience?
Yeah, very much. Go back, I guess, for the second question there. God has made me in every level. He has met me on every level of my life, really humbled me and changed me, transformed me, because I was really a different person before I became a parent, and again, caring for the children. God has changed me on that, and becoming the spiritual father. I didn't know, right? I didn't know how to become that foundation for the family by myself, but God had to change it, transform me. It's a daily thing, and it's a continuous thing for me. He has to help me out, and he does that on many levels, and every day. As I said, it's a daily thing for me. Yeah, he meets me in my prayer time, when I read his word, listening to other people talk, and he teach me, change, transform me in that way too. So I had to really to submit myself to him to receive that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thanks.
So God has definitely really changed me and my perspective through my kids. I grew up Mennonite, always fearing that I was going to wake up one day and God was not going to love me anymore, and he was probably going to punish me, and in fear every day. So he's really changed my perspective. And then I seen the reason why he calls us his sons and daughters. Because as I look at my kids, they are my blood. No matter what they do, I will have an unconditional love for them. I might be disappointed in them from time to time. I might be frustrated with them from time to time. I might discipline them every once in a while. But that is out of true love for them and wanting the best for them. So it's just helps me understand of the price that was paid for us, for me, for you, of God's unconditional love for you. And it's just, yeah, it's completely changed. And that's only a small glimpse from my love to my kids. Like, we just can't comprehend God's love for us. So this is just a little glimpse in a small scale of God's actual love for us.
For me, he's met me in those moments when I've really had to learn how to trust him, to give things to him not annually or bi-weekly, but to daily give things to him. And where I'm coming from with that is from the angle of like providing for my family, or meeting goals. You have a vision of what you want your life and your family to look like, and as a guy, I think we wear it. I'll speak for myself. I wear it lots, and that's not my burden to bear. He wants to come alongside me. He wants to help me. He wants to lead me in that journey, and I'm going to probably ramble on, so I'm just going to read a little blurb I made here so it makes a little bit more sense, hopefully. I've had to learn to trust him with the future. I put so much pressure on myself. I think because now I got these mouths to feed that I have to have it all figured out, and that I am the man of the house and I need to know what I'm doing. It's hard to trust him. My pride gets in the way, and I try to make my own plan, and I make things happen myself. So many times I needed to take a step back and realize that his plans are bigger than my plans, and my time is better spent seeking after him rather than putting my head down and trying to do it myself. It's been his grace that has carried me this far in life, and he who started a good work will see it through. I should not for 1 second discount the grace of God in my life, and that up until this point, he has been the one that has had a plan for me and provided opportunities for me and opened doors. To give credit where credit is due, to swallow my pride, I have lots, plenty to share if anybody needs, and admit that up until now, it's always been him, and to continue to give it to him daily. As hard as it is to just admit that I don't have it all figured out and trust him when I think sometimes I'm so hard on myself and put a lot of pressure on myself. And we get very discouraged. I get very discouraged when I mess up and don't have a perfect plan to put on the table, but to trust God. So that's been huge for me. I find the more I want something, or the more passionately I feel about something, why do I try that much harder to do it myself? When those are the things that he really wants me to dive into with him and seek him on. He wants to help me with it. He wants to come alongside me with it. And so, he's met me in those times, and it's a daily thing for sure.
It was easy for me to answer that question because I've watched just in my own life how God has changed me because of kids. And Debbie and I were married probably almost 5 years before we had any kids. So we both had good careers. We were able to buy some of the things we wanted. We were able to travel. We had quite a bit of freedom. And I knew right away by watching some other friends that had young kids that can change real quick. And so I maybe could have been talked into not having kids, but that didn't happen. And very, very quickly, I learned that things like self-centered, selfish, pride, I had an attraction to shiny new things, and all that changed. And it was God's way to refine me and take some of that pride and selfishness away. And everything new and shiny will have a scratch and a dent, and that's okay. And God has definitely changed me.
Yeah, I can resonate with so many of your different comments on different pieces. I think, that passage, his mercies are new every morning. And when our kids were younger, I had to shift it to your mercies are new every moment. Because there's just moments where I just needed the capacity to recognize that God meets me every minute and that there can be something fresh and new and life-giving. And that even if I'm struggling right now, in the next minute, I can experience the grace of God and his capacity. And so, thanks for sharing those things. It's really significant. Again, one of the things I think I wonder about is often being a father seems like a bit of a lonely experience. Again, society, we're kind of taught that we should kind of be able to do things on our own and be independent, and that gets more challenging when you're trying to navigate work and family, your own spiritual life, your personal life, those kind of things. So who do you have with you along the journey? Have you found a way to create a healthy, life-giving community for you as a father?
Yeah, for me, it's my wife. My wife Evelyn. She's been a pillar in my life to navigate this fatherhood in my life. She's really a strong helper in my life and my family. My mom, my dad, my sisters, and I have created, by the grace of God, like a group of people, prayer partner people that really come along with me in this parenting good life, and it just, I don't know if I can give an example.
Yeah.
As you said, it can be lonely, right? It can be really, sometimes you need people around you. And I remember, we had our first son, after my three daughters, and Elijah Jr. Elijah Jr. was 3 weeks old, and Elijah Jr. had to go to open heart surgery. And I was still in school. This is back in Calgary. Man, I found myself that I was on rock bottom, and without the help of the people that God put around me, there's no way I could be, because I had to be parent, a father for the three ones, my three oldest daughter, at the same time, being there for my 3 weeks old child who is about to get his chest open, cut open, and to do surgery on the heart. And we thought that family support and the prayer partner people, there is no way I could be sitting here today and share this. So it's can be lonely, but you need to have that support. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Pretty much kind of the same answer. It's my wife Ashley. She's been along with me and in a huge way. She's been the rock. Often in my frustration with, if we're going through a situation, it's like, Andrew, just walk away. I'll deal with this, or stuff like that. So definitely shout out to my beautiful wife Ashley for being who she is and just helping me be the best father that I can be. I will never perfect it, but always helping me in trying to always be just a little better than I was yesterday.
This is Father's Day, so I don't want to give too much credit to my wife because it is it's my day. Don't forget about that. I have one day a year, okay? But you're the rock, whatever. I can do it too. I'll get there, okay? I'm gonna get there. Thankful for my wife. I have been very blessed, very, very, very blessed with the wife, but also with a good earthly father. Like my dad was always huge. He was a huge person I looked up to, somebody I wanted to be like, and he still is, and I'm so thankful for that. It's very humbling to have that role model, I guess. I have also through family and friends. I have also a lot of it's really humbling to say, actually, but just a great support system, people I can call, and I'm very thankful for that. I'm in a men's group with a group of younger dads, and we meet once a week, and just to meet with like-minded guys where we can cry together or laugh together or whatever it may be. And so I'm thankful for that, for even just to meet weekly. It's not always easy, but I appreciate that.
I consider myself lucky to have had a dad that was an excellent role model for me. But unfortunately, when I was 17, my parents were missionaries in Mexico, and I moved to Canada, and that contact with my dad wasn't the same. But when I got to Canada, I have 3 amazing uncles that became really important people in my life. I had one uncle that Debbie and I would go to, well, uncle and aunt, and we would go to them and say, how did you handle this with your kids? They were 15 years older than us, just ahead, and they just gave us advice through those stages, and we went to them quite often for advice. I had another uncle who was an amazing spiritual man who gave me guidance, taught me how to balance business and God's kingdom and how to tithe and give. And then another uncle who was an amazing businessman that he's almost 90 now, and I'm still his business partner. And so I've been blessed with 4 amazing people.
And what advice would you guys give to any other dad out there? What's your best piece of fatherly advice?
Good question. Wow. As I was saying about the support that I have, but the perfect father is God, and my bigger supporter has been, to connect with God. The Bible says, I believe in the book of John 5:19, this is Jesus saying, he said, there's nothing I can do by myself. And the only thing I do is what I see my Father doing. So for me, God, Father out there, God needs to be your primary source. God is where you really get all the energy that you need, first of all. But I know that God is created. God will put people around you where you can get more energy and help. But your first source should be God. That's what I've seen in my life. Without him, I won't be here today. And again, in the book of, I believe, Philippians 4:13, the Bible says, I can do all things by Christ who strengthened me. So, yes, you can do all things, but you need to be connected. Life can be messy. Fatherhood can be messy, but yet it's precious. In that messiness, in that mess and life happening and everything, you have to be connected to God. You have to be connected to God. Otherwise, it can be so stressful. And it helps you that you don't carry the whole load yourself. You got to share this load with Jesus, right? Because with him, again, Philippians 4:13, I believe is that, or Pastor can correct me, I can do all things. How many things? All things. And Jesus said, I can do nothing by myself, but I can do all things that I see my Father do. And how many things God can do? God can do all things. That's why we can do all things with him, right? He's our cisterna, he's our source, he's everything. That's my advice for the father there. God to be your source.
Oh man, for what it's worth, I guess the advice I would have is if you're about to have your first kid, buckle up. And if you think you're not selfish, you're not prideful, prepare to be humbled. And I kind of got to echo your words too, though, Elijah, is there's so many silent prayers that go up to my Father to help me in certain situations when, with your kids, if you're caught up in situations. I know there's many more coming because my oldest one is still only 8, so I know there'll be many times where I will need to lean on my Heavenly Father to give me patience, give me direction, and give me strength. And so advice would be plug into your Heavenly Father and look for his direction and depend on his strength, not your own.
I'm definitely the rookie on the panel here, so I don't feel, take it with a grain of salt what I'm saying here. And I'm probably not a first round draft pick either. So I'm gonna be empowered here. Okay. I would say for me it's been important to recognize when I commit to something or when I say yes to something, to remember that I'm also now saying no to something. And I think as my family's growing, to recognize that more and more is something I need to become more and more aware of, is when I say yes to something, what am I saying no to? Because when you're young, you don't particularly think of that. You just go for it. Let's go. Let's run it. And now it changes. You have to think about who you're saying no to. And that's important. And to make priorities. We only have so much time in a day. And so to prioritize. And yeah, not a first-round draft pick, but that's what I would say.
I find that, especially raising a young family, it's a really, really busy time of your life. You will be, whether it's your career or your business that you're starting, you probably just bought your first home. You've got these kids involved in sports and other activities, and it's a really, really busy time. And a lot of times as a father, we feel a bit of pressure to have an answer and be able to fix everything. And we seem to be really good with the urgent things that need to be done that day, but sometimes what I've learned is there were many, many times when I missed. I've got a wife and a partner in this, and being a mom, sometimes at that time you don't feel like it's not a glamorous job, and sometimes there's some days you don't feel beautiful, and they are the ones that, you try to fix them. They don't need to be fixed. What they want is they want to be appreciated for what they are and who they are, and that's my advice for you as a young father. Don't miss out on your wife's needs. And I'm going to give one other one, and that is, we took as a motto from Joshua the verse that says, "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." And that was an important part of our motto. And there isn't a day that we don't do devotions together, and we pray for our kids and grandkids. And yet when they become adults, they will make their own choices as well. And to just allow God to just have you not fix your adult kids either, but just simply support them and love them.
Yeah, thanks so much. I think it's such a good reminder and affirmation for us to keep just living constantly in the presence of Jesus, seeing those around us well. Thanks just for all of your wisdom and your thoughts. Thanks for sharing those things with us. I'd like to call the band back up. They're just going to lead us in one final song. And just as we do, I just want to just encourage you and remind you, wherever you may be today, again, maybe you're here today and you're just feeling like a huge amount of joy and celebration. Maybe you're feeling a lot of frustration or hurt or shame or fear. Again, we get to celebrate the really good gift that we have a God who loves us and cares for us, who invites us into his presence. We never have to deal with any of the moments of life on our own, but we can continue to go to him and draw from him the fullness of what we need, and also to find a space of meaningful life and community together as well. So we're just going to get out of the band's way so they've got lots of space. And I just want to continue to affirm you just to continue to seek after God and the things that he has for you as well.